Welcome back to They Did What? Your source of the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I'm going to go over a story titled, My Wife Had an Affair When My Mom Died and Blames Me for the Relationship Breakdown. And I shout out to AM for sending this story. And guys, this story is all about a guy who eventually makes the right decision and kicks his awful, cheating, and many other things wife to the curb. However, it takes a lot for him to wake up and see and get to this point. You're going to see in this story, this guy's, I believe, is over in the UK. He is 30 years old, and his wife is just an awful person. And here's the thing, she's a therapist, and she is a master manipulator, mind effer. She's literally, in my mind, like Hannibal Lecter's granddaughter. That's who she could be. Imagine being married to that. And she has zero respect for this guy and just repeatedly messes with his head and cheats on him and clearly isn't happy. And you're going to see in this story the type of tactics that women will do, not only with a guy they don't respect, but when they want to end a relationship, they'll orchestrate things in a way, and she does it masterfully, to make it look like it's his fault and make him even question that. It's crazy, but in the end, the guy does wake up. And I thought it'd be good one to go over here, guys, multiple fronts. This is going to be one of these things. This guy, I'm going to, disclaimer, give you a warning. This guy you're going to want to smack him along with me along the way. But this guy clearly never had a male role model to help him out. And you're going to see what she does and how she doesn't respect him and how he lets so much things slide and acts like, well, I picture a guy with a man bun and skinny jeans, and who eats avocado toast. One of those type of guys who's been feminized, male feminist. That's what I'm kind of thinking he might be. And what happens to these types? And on the one hand, they have it coming, but on the other hand, it shouldn't happen to any guy. So you're going to see this whole thing break down, and it's a good one just to see how these types, these women operate. It's awful, but I do these stories so you can be entertained, but also learn something to maybe protect yourself or some loved one that might be going through the same exact thing. But do remember at the end, guys, justice is served eventually. So he says, hi all, I'm a 30-year-old male, and I started posting some of these incidents in the Am I the A-hole, but as soon as it became quite clear in some of these cases that she very much is the a-hole, and there's no point even asking. So I've come here just to list all the effed up things that happened to me in the final months of 2024, and I anticipate this will be very long, but have fun. So for some context here, in late 2023, my wife and I bought a house, and I was spending a lot of time for a couple months working on the house, almost every evening and weekend I could spare. During this time, my wife started going out with some new friends, including this guy, Jay. Randomly one evening, she looks a bit funny and says to me, I don't trust myself around him. I hear this, and my heart sinks a bit, but I feel like we have a strong relationship, and I tell her, I trust you not to do anything stupid, just be sensible about what time and how you spend your time with him. Smack! Are you nuts, dude? You're married. She should not be hanging out with any men except you or her brother or father or uncle or somebody she's related to. That's it. You are setting yourself up for disaster by being the nice guy, the trusting boyfriend, because you don't want to be controlling and all that. She's an a-hole, absolutely, but you are not helping your case. And I'm going to point that out every step of the way to help guys learn. She liked this, and we moved on. Yeah, because she's getting some. But I decided to keep an eye on the situation. She started spending more and more time with him and these new friends, going out and getting drunk while I was working late on the house. Well, big surprise. You're not establishing boundaries. Buy a new house, fix her up, or you're doing work, she can come in and do some work in the house. End of story. It started to make me uncomfortable, and eventually I said so. I didn't ask for anything, I just expressed my feelings. What, like a woman? She said she understood, but they're just friends, and there's nothing to be worried about. Yeah, famous last words. Well, they kept hanging out until one day his partner, a woman married to another man, forbade him from speaking to my wife because she was jealous. So he ghosted my wife, and my wife got really upset. It hurt me to see how upset she was for two reasons. Smack! You're hurt because some dude ghosted her? Really? Dude, you're not helping yourself. One, my wife is upset, and that's upsetting to me. And two, she's so upset it feels weird, and she's acting like a breakup. What does that tell you, Sherlock? She asked me to proofread a message she wanted to send, and I read it a bit and had put it down. I said, this is a breakup message. I refused to do this. She made adamant that they were just friends and nothing more. I accused her of having an emotional affair. Again, she denied it and was adamant they were just friends and that I needed to get over this. She's talking to you that way. Why do you think she's talking to you that way? Because she doesn't respect you. Because you're not acting like a fucking man, taking charge, laying down the law. This should never happen. She probably married you for resources, to get a house and all that. Probably because she was getting close to 30 years old. You can't act like this, guys. And I know some of you guys are inclined to want to get out of here, but we're going to use this story to learn some things today. And eventually our guy gets his head right, but it takes some time. Well, some weeks later, Jay comes back on the scene, having broken up with his previous girlfriend. My wife says she's going to go talk to him, but be very boundaried. I told her I'm uncomfortable with all this. If she's going to see him, she should be careful. No, jackass, you need to be careful. Be a man and lay down the law. No, you're not hanging out with this guy. You're clearly have attachment issues. He got to be doing some investigating on her. If she doesn't like it, end it. A week or two later, she comes stumbling in at 5 o'clock in the morning. I ask her where she's been, and she explains she's been out with Jay, went back to his place around 2 a.m., and they played guitar. What the fuck is the matter with this? She's an asshole, but in a way, she has no respect for him, and you can't blame her. I mean, seriously. What the fuck's the matter with you, dude? I was hurt and upset by this. This was the typical example of the everything we discussed. I said, you can't do that, to which my wife took great offense, accusing me of controlling her and being misogynistic. Classic example, and that's why he was allowing it, because he wants to be labeled something. Okay, you can go start hanging out with a chick to the middle of the night. See how she likes that. To be clear, I never forbade her from seeing him. Well, you should have. I never tried to tell her what to do beyond please be careful and don't do anything silly and please respect me. That time I said, you can't do that, was the first and only time I specifically said what she could and couldn't do. And to me, it's obvious I wasn't controlling her. I was just saying not that quiet part out loud, which is you can't do that unless you want to ruin our relationship. What relationship? She's just there for it to use you, man. You should have laid down the law from the get-go, saying, hey, you can have him as a friend, or you can have me as a husband. You can't have both. Make your fucking choice. And that goes for any guy. You're so controlling. Well, fine, I'm a controlling asshole, but I'm the controlling asshole you chose to marry. Make your decision right now. Or you can fucking walk. That's having some balls. That's being a fucking man. But in this case, it's time to end it with her. She's adamant nothing happened, and then weirdly, I believe her. Smack! Okay, I have a bridge I want to sell you, dude. The issue for me is she did the opposite of what we both agreed to. She disrespected me and my feelings, and she's putting our relationship in jeopardy. Well, you're putting the relationship in jeopardy too by acting like a pussy. To her, the issue is that I try to control her by being upset, and that I'm putting restrictions on her. She pointed out that she's a grown-ass woman, and she can spend her time with her friends if she wants to. My being upset about it is made out of control, and I need to stop. I want to point out, I think that they're over in the UK. From what I've heard, feminism rages strong, so this doesn't surprise me. In principle, I have no problem with her seeing her friends, but this guy makes me uncomfortable. Stop saying uncomfortable. So that all happened. We were on the rocks, and she's clearly having an emotional affair at the very least, but adamantly refuses to acknowledge it at all. I'm trying desperately to find a way to move forward and recover our relationship if we can. Why? Doesn't sound like anything left. She treats you like shit. She disrespects you. I'm sure you're not hooking up very much. Bro, start investigating. Then October 2024, my mom died suddenly. I think he's over in the UK. I won't go too much into it, but it happened. Very sudden, shocking, and it sucked. My dad died when I was young, so a lonely time as well. He grew up without a dad, and I'm sorry for that. That explains some things here about the way he's acting. This is where my wife's behavior started to seriously turn. I'm going to list the major events as I remember them in the order they happened. I will also try to list areas where I was less than perfect, to be perfectly honest. I don't think there are many, though. Like, really, I have to keep checking myself. Surely it wasn't all one-sided. Surely I contributed meaningfully to this. It just doesn't seem to be the case. Anyway, here goes. The day after my mom died, we were at the pub with a friend, and we are talking about it all. My friend asked my wife how she's doing, and she says, I'm worried everyone is going to forget that my mom died. For context, her mom passed away 3 to 4 years ago from a long contracted period of illness. It spanned over COVID and lockdown. I lived in their house with them all over the lockdown and helped look after her mom, watching her die and taking care of her for over a year. Man, this is a good guy. I mean, he's acts like a weak jackass, but he's at least a good guy. My wife had been dealing with this tragic and difficult loss for some time, so I had some sympathy to her reaction. But bottom line is, it's a shitty thing to say to your partner who lost their mom 1 day ago that you're concerned that you're not going to get as much attention anymore. Yeah, His mom died, for God's sakes. That's it. He's on his own. And she's more concerned she's not going to get the attention anymore because her mom died a few years ago. What's this say about her? That my loss will overshadow hers. It speaks volumes and sets up what is yet to come. Dude, these are all giant red flags. Well, a day later, she says she's going to go see this guy Jay again. I mentioned above, the one I'm really uncomfortable with. I made it very clear that I'm uncomfortable with this, and now is not the time to be testing me like this. Testing you? She knows what's going to happen. You're not going to do anything. I know he's just your friend, and there's nothing actually happening. I'm an idiot. But this does upset me, and I don't need to deal with this right now. I'd appreciate it if she didn't go. See, a loving wife would be there by her husband's side during the loss of a mom or a dad or a family member. Not her. I'm going to Jay's house. I'm going to go fuck Jay because he can give me attention. She said she understood, but not to worry. This is the last time she's going to go see him. Really? So it's going to be some goodbye sex. The relationship has wind down out more or less so it'll just be the occasional coffee, and that's what she's going for. Oh, and they had plans to go see a jazz band in a few weeks' time, but she'll cancel that on account of the funeral. Oh, how nice of you. She's barely going to go see him, so don't worry. I said it was fine. I saw it as her being truthful, and then I can accept the cost of one more uncomfortable period if the payoff is they really do just leave each other alone for a while. She went and came back a couple hours later. No big deal. Yeah, they had a quickie, dumbass. And let's just say she stopped seeing Jay. Well, guess what? There'll be somebody else in the future because she knows she can get away with it. So the following week, we had a spa trip booked. Smack! Did you say we? You're really that guy? No fucking surprise. I bought it for her for Christmas. We decided to go in spite of everything because why not? I need it. It was great. You need a spa weekend, dude? Or spa day? No, you need a trip to the rifle range. Or join a fucking boxing club. Not a spa day, princess. No wonder she doesn't respect you. Had a lovely time. Reconnected. I was able to relax and de-stress a bit. But on the last day, we're in the hot tub together, sharing a cocktail, and she's on her phone. She's messaging Jay and arranging to meet that next day. Right there with you during the spa day. She's an asshole. No denying this. But you can see she has no respect for him and no fucking surprise why on multiple fronts. He's like another girl. I took offense and said, I thought you weren't seeing him anymore. It's just a study, she says. I'm falling behind on my thesis. Yeah, what thesis on cheating? So the next day, she gets up early and leaves, and we agree she'll be back at lunch. I'm very unhappy about all this, and just basically sulk all morning. Smack! Like a freaking little girl. Oh my God. So guys, I know, like SSM, why are you doing this? I gotta do these things every once in a while to show you what not to do. Where, yeah, the girl's the a-hole and what's going on behind the scenes, but look, these guys don't help their situation. I gotta read this and I gotta roast them so they understand, or you guys understand when they're going wrong. Women like masculine men, not being with a guy who acts like a girl. Come on here. I leave my phone upstairs and try to get on with my day as best as I can, waiting for her to come home and talk about it. 3 p.m. comes and goes. I take a nap. 5 p.m. comes and goes. I check my phone, a couple of messages, and a couple missed calls. Apparently, she decided to stay out for lunch and asked if it was okay. When I didn't reply, she decided to stay out for dinner and drinks too. She didn't get home until after I went to bed. I spent the whole evening feeling miserable and hurt. I don't need this. No, you don't need this, dude. But as long as you keep acting like a pussy and accepting it, it's going to keep happening. I spent the whole evening feeling miserable, blah, blah, blah. She comes home, and I confront her asking if she thought any of that was okay. It turns out it's all my fault because I didn't reply to her, and my lack of immediate response was me emotionally blackmailing her to come home. Holy crap, listen to the shit she's saying to him. And he's dumb enough to fall for it. Okay. It really wasn't. I just didn't want to have my phone on me and was expecting her to be home at the agreed upon time. Maybe a little silly and selfish on my part, maybe, but I'm grieving and she's already pushed my boundaries. I need some alone time to deal with it. I had no idea I was emotionally blackmailing her. You weren't, dude. She's full of shit. So anyway, she stays out all day with a person that makes me uncomfortable. Days after my mom died. Days after she promised she wouldn't do it again. And I'm the a-hole for not keeping my phone on me in case she decided to change her mind. Great. Yeah, she's gaslighting you because she has no respect for you. And she's an asshole. And I don't respect you now at this point, dude. Week goes by, and it's the day before we're due to leave for my hometown, ready for the funeral in a few days. She asked me if we can hold off going for an extra day so she can go to this jazz thing with Jay. I say, what the fuck? You said that wasn't happening. That's why you saw him earlier, because you weren't doing that. She says she knows, but she really wants to go. I confront her and say, I really don't feel like I'm your top priority. You think, genius? No, you're not my top priority. Please elaborate. Well, I just don't see it as a hierarchy. Everybody in a circle around me, and you're all equal priority. You, Jay, etc. No, this is what she's saying. No, he should be the top priority, but he's not. He's the bottom of the barrel to her. She says, right, but I'm your husband and my mom just died. Does that not put me ahead of anybody else? No. Looking me dead straight in the eye, she said no. Bro, how much signs from God in the universe do you need to have, and how much suffering do you have to go through for you see reality for what it is? I said, fine, just go to your jazz thing. I don't give a fuck. She says, might as well. The damage is already done. Or me even asking, right. Yeah, the damage is already done. This chick is fucking narcissist. I can't believe what she said to me. So cold and so heartless, so empathetic, so selfish. By the way, this woman is a qualified therapist. Let that sink in. Hope you don't get her as your therapist. Good Lord. This chick's a therapist? Oh my God. I mean, she's a pro at fucking with people and fucking with their minds. And that's what she's doing this. She found a weak-ass guy. And look at this, right? So she fucks off the next day. And there's a lot of, yes, there's fucking going on, sir. And I delay my departure for her social plans. Smack! Bro, not that you're going to see this. Would you, if you were her, would you respect you? Seriously. I think all these guys that act like this and all these stories I go over are the ones that send me in. Really ask yourself, the way you're behaving, if you were a woman, would you respect you? No. Then stop acting like that. It's no wonder half these guys these women cheat on and treat like shit, because for God's sakes, no self-respect. But I do blame a lot of that from guys coming from homes raised by single moms, no male role model to teach them reality. This guy's dad died young. I mean, I'm sorry for that, but there's a point. It's like, that's some fucking self-respect. I contemplate going down without her, but the ensuing drama and questions from my family would not be worth it. It was my mom's funeral, after all, not my marriage's. Do your late mother a favor and divorce this bitch and learn from your mistakes, man. The funeral goes fine. The week is fine. She doesn't say or do anything shitty. I focus on the funeral and family and everything, and mostly not think about the fireball train wreck that is my now marriage. Yes, it is a train wreck. Okay, get off the tracks. On the drive home, my wife decides to tell me that she thinks her ex-boyfriend from school days is the one that got away. And I'm dumbfounded because, one, what a thing to say as I drive home from burying my mother, and two, it's purely untrue. So completely ludicrous, I'm not even bothered by the notion that she might be serious. She's telling you that her ex is the one that got away. You're her husband. She's telling you this. Wake up, dumbass. And to this point, that dawns on me that she may be hurting me on purpose. You think? The next day, we were having coffee, and she says to me, I never wanted this house, I never wanted this dog, and I don't want kids. Again, more signs from the Lord. Let's be clear, I did not push her to get the house or the dog. If anything, she pushed for both of them, and it was pretty mutual. She's now tearing up the entire foundation of our marriage. She's lighting a fire to the entire future plans we had. The house and the dog I poured my heart and soul into, for her, for us, she never wanted, apparently, just brutal and savage. No, I think she probably wanted those. She didn't want them with you, because she settled for you, obviously. This woman went into the field of therapy or psychiatry, whatever, so she could learn to fuck with people, because she's probably very good at it, obviously, and preyed on weak people. And people pay her a living to probably do marriage counseling and therapy and all that. This is like fucking Hannibal Lecter here, really, except it's, with tits. She acted shocked when I started crying. Smack! Of course you started crying. I get you're hurt, but don't ever cry in front of a fucking woman. Makes it even more pissed off. It's like in the wild, when an animal shows weakness and a predator attacks them. These women are like apex, what do you want to call them? I can't think of the name. Apex, whatever the fuck you call them. They go after the weakest one. Right here. She sees the tears, boom. Apex predators. I didn't expect you to be so upset this much, she said. Incredible. The next day I go to my friend's place and just cry on her for hours. I'm in a complete state. It's all too much. I get his mom died and all that, and he's emotional. Well, come on, dude. There's a man in there somewhere. It's overwhelming, awful, and it's just confusing. Why is she being so mean? I wonder if she hated me. Then I thought maybe she's trying to get me to break up with her. She's clearly having an affair of some variety. There you go, genius. She's sabotaging everything. And she's probably like, what the fuck? She's probably like, how awful do I have to be to this guy for him to wake up? Because she wants to blame the divorce on him. Well, he wanted it. My mom just died. Maybe she just doesn't want to be the person to break up with her partner when their mom died. Especially a partner who cared for her dying mother. And especially because she was having an affair. She'd be seen as the a-hole, so rather than just admitting everything and being an a-hole, she decided to torture me, and so I pulled the plug myself. Finally, you woke up. That's exactly what's going on. Exactly. Not her fault then, is it? Anyway, the thought occurred to me, but I'm in no state to decide the fate of my marriage. Yes, you are. I'm grieving. I'm distraught. I'm reeling from the various harrowing incidents listed above. Barely enough time to process one before another one comes along. It may seem obvious to you and me now, but at the time, I just couldn't see clearly what was happening or exactly why. I don't hear anything about this guy having any bros to hang out with to talk to him about this shit. This is why every guy needs bros. My friend gave me some advice, and I didn't need to decide anything right now. That settled me. Took some pressure off. At around this point, my perception of time got a bit funny. Mixture of grief and brain fuckery. So now I'm pissed at her. I don't trust her. I feel badly hurt. She says she's going out again with Jay, and I say I don't care. I'm resigned to do this shitty behavior, unable to reason with her, unable to discuss it, unable to make the call and leave. Well, she comes back at 4 o'clock in the morning, high as fuck, and they had taken MDMA together, the oxytocin drug. And she's a fucking therapist. Under the influence of this drug, he confessed his feelings for her. She was totally shocked by this and said it was all a little uncomfortable. Okay, I said, whatever. Oh, she's so shocked that he's into her. Because she's such a great person. These fuckers can have each other. Just move on. The next day we're driving somewhere, and I really can't remember what she said, but it just set me off. I think it was something along the lines of, I don't know why you're so upset with me. I was furious. I was worn down, and I was mistreated. For the first time, I raised my voice. I was shouting at her, listening all the shitty instances that were cutting me apart while I grieved. I raised my hand, clenched my fist, and brought it down on the steering wheel in anger. It made a dull bang noise. Well, you're allowed to get mad, but she's going to use this against you. Oh, he was hitting the steering wheel and in the car, and I thought I was going to die. Oh. This was the start of a new narrative for my wife. The scary, aggressive husband narrative. Ding, ding, ding. That's why she was doing it. The perfect excuse, in her eyes, to leave me without raising questions about her betrayal and complete lack of empathy. You're scary, she said. I was cowering in the passenger seat, she said. You're just like my aggressive father, she said. Man, this chick is something. I tried defending myself, but please remember I was in a complete mess, mentally and emotionally. I started to believe her. Maybe I did lose control. Maybe I'm one of those guys. Dude, you couldn't be anything close to those guys that are what she's describing. Maybe I did threaten her. I thought that yes, it was an outburst, but no, it was not threatening. I'm not a big, scary person. I'm just a human being that has been deeply hurt and wounded when they're their most vulnerable. But maybe that's not a good enough excuse. Maybe I crossed the line. Smack! No, you didn't. She's mind-fucking you, dude. She sowed the seeds of doubt in my vulnerable mind. I started doubting my memory of events. Did I black out for a moment and do something really scary? No, you did not, dude. You're just married to fucking Hannibal Lecter's granddaughter here. She told me that I was potentially abusive. To be clear, she's not accusing me of being abusive. She's accusing me of maybe becoming abusive in the future. So what's abusive? Getting mad? Really? That's now considered to be abusive? Guess what? When guys get pissed off, sometimes we smash shit. Doesn't mean we're going to smash her. And she can't take the risk. I'm not safe to have children with. You know, the children she said she didn't want to have before I even shouted. And I believed her. Smack! God, dumbass. She deliberately chose you to marry because she can control you and walk all over you. But she's not so disgusted she wants to be done. What a monster I was. How could I be so terrible? I never thought I was like this. No wonder she was having an affair for the last several weeks. I shouted at her and hit my hand on the steering wheel in frustration. She wasn't having an affair because you were so-called controlling and abusive and all that. Actually, if you actually behaved like that, she'd probably be turned on by it and would be doing anything you wanted. She was having an affair, and probably multiple affairs, because she sees you, and quite appropriately, as a big giant mangina, as a weak, a soft, a big crybaby, a pushover. Not at all a masculine man who likes the spa. I can go on and on. But you're a guy, you don't deserve this. You just got a lot of work to be done on yourself. She let into it, but not too far. She was manipulating me, telling me it's okay. She says, you just need to go to therapy and sort yourself out. What, with someone like her? As long as I'm going along with her narrative, she's okay on my side. If I ever doubt her, I'm terrible and hurtful and potentially abusive. She is the abusive one, my friend. Well, she decided it was time to end things. She had a get out of jail free card that she wanted. There you go. That was her plan all along. She didn't leave me for another man and emotionally abused me when my mom died. She saved herself from a potentially abusive relationship. My greatest crime was hitting a steering wheel. If that's your greatest crime, then shit. One of the last things she said to me was she spoke with a friend of hers who had been broken up with her partner of 8 years, had 2 wild years, and they got back together for several years. I asked what she meant by wild years. She says just connecting with lots of people. Connecting with lots of people. So she turns to me and says, I think we're a lot like them, you know. What, that you're going to get back together in time? No. I wanted to say I bet she didn't abuse her partner. I bet she didn't hurt him when his mom died. I bet she didn't manipulate him into believing he was abusive. And the sheer audacity of sitting there and looking to me to prove her fucking a bunch of people for 2 years before I take her back. I said nothing, and she nudged me, desperate for me to implicitly condone her actions and behaviors by giving even the slightest inkling that I might take her back. When she's done fucking around, I turned away and left. I was done. Thank the Lord. Only took 25 fucking minutes to get to that point. Now, 2 days after our official breakup, she declared herself in a relationship with Jay. Ha ha ha. There's a surprise. But to her family, she accused me of being aggressive and scary and forcing her to leave. She denies having had any affair, pretending that her and Jay were not an item, and she goes to my friends asking them to meet her new partner, Jay. Again, implicitly asking them to condone her actions by meeting this guy, Jay. My friends all refused and began to cut contact with her. Well, thank the Lord. Where were these friends when she was doing all this? Why weren't they telling you to get the hell away from her? They've seen what she's done. They knew what she was doing to me, like what she did, and they won't tolerate her BS. I love my friends. My wife's sister still knows everything. She heard it all from my wife's point of view, and still she took my side. Well, that's good to hear. Your wife's sister, at least, is on your side. Then she heard what I had to say. Boy, was she pissed off. She told her whole family the truth. My wife tried to convince her that her sister was a liar, that she didn't understand. She's pregnant, by the way. My wife just turned to her family against her pregnant younger sister. In her attempts to not be seen as a terrible, heartless bitch that would abandon her husband when he needed her the most, she turned herself into an even worse monster. An abuser, according to some. A liar, a manipulator, a nasty piece of work. Piece of work, more like a piece of shit. Sometimes you meet your destiny on the path to avoid it. I'm 2 months free now. I don't want to let another human being close to me like that again, but that maybe will change with time. My therapist and my wife's sister, who's also a qualified therapist, both said that she's been emotionally abusive to me. You'd think coercive, controlling behavior, and I don't know about that, but I do know I've been treated unfairly. Thank you for reading. I hope it was entertaining. I don't know if entertaining is the word to describe it, my friend. Maybe more like, a wake-up call for people. Holy shit. All the suffering you went through. Now, you're 30 years old, and you got your whole life ahead of you, but holy shit. Bro, let me break this down. Everything, it was all on her. She was controlling, manipulative, gaslighting. I can go on and on. A liar, a cheater, sneaky, awful. She is Hannibal Lecter's granddaughter. The fact that she's the therapist, people go to her. She was with you so she can control you. That's why she got with you and kept mind-fucking you. You were out of your mind to stay with her as long as you did. Maybe she didn't behave like this before you got married. That's a possibility. But once she started in marriage, you should have been done. The second she started wanting to hang out with other guys, you never should let that shit go on. Regardless if she labeled you controlling and all that stuff. Period. And if she's going to do that, say, hey, we don't have to be married anymore. You need some serious work on yourself about self-worth, self-esteem, and all that, and appreciating yourself. I personally think, and I'm sorry to hear your dad died when you're young, without a strong male role model growing up. You didn't learn to stand up for yourself. You learned to be a pushover and fall into all this mumbo jumbo nowadays that basically you're controlling and abusive and all these things because you, God forbid, stand up for yourself. And I definitely think that's your culture, because I think you're over in the UK and everything thanks to feminism. Well, look what that's done. But when your wife was out with another dude and everything, you're allowing it to go on, talking about how it hurts you. Be a fucking man. And you're probably the type of guy that hates when men say, be a fucking man. Well, I'm going to say it anyway, and you needed that. So I'm hoping you learn from all this and move on. So anyhow, guys, I wish him the best. I truly do. But you can see in stories like this, and she's awful, we can all agree there, that even though she's awful, you can see why she was just so disgusted by her guy. Women are completely repelled when men are weak and pushovers and like this. You can see she's disgusted. But all the tricks she was doing to set it up that he was the bad guy so she could supposedly publicly walk away scot-free from any blame for ending the marriage. That's the shit some of these gals do. You got to be careful. So, gentlemen, for those of you stuck around here in this half-an-hour story, something to learn here. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.